Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Syngenta Canada, Alberta Wheat Commission, and C&M Seeds.
We are joined here on RealAgriculture.com by Rex Newkirk here at CIGI, Canadian International Grains Institute in downtown Winnipeg. And Rex, you are headed out on a new crop mission shortly. There are already some teams overseas. What's all involved in a new crop mission, or why is CIGI and the Canadian grain industry? Sure.
Well, thanks, Calvin. Yeah, each year we go out and we talk to customers about what this year's quality brings, and they often want to know, not only what's the supply of the material, but how is it going to bake for them. Oftentimes, they've already made commitments to purchase stuff, so it's already en route, or maybe even landing in their plants and milling as we come out. But as quickly as possible, we gather samples from the grain industry. The companies collaborate with us. They provide composite samples from the various regions across the prairies of different classes and grades of wheat and durum. And we analyze that. And then we go out to the world and we give seminars. And so I have a team today that is in Japan, I believe. What day is today? Wednesday. That's sort of a country a day. So they did 2 seminars in Japan, and then they went to Korea, and then they're doing 2 in China, and then I pick up with them in Indonesia. And so we go all over the world. We give sort of one-day seminars, get all the major buyers in that region, and we speak to them about what's happening in the industry, what's happening in the products, as far as organization goes, grading, all that stuff. The Grain Commission comes and talks about that. They talk about grade distribution. But what they really come to hear, I think, is what's the quality? How is it going to work this year? And so we go and we talk to them about what does the lab say, that they're doing more samples behind me. What does the lab data show as far as the quality goes this year compared to previous years? How does it bake? How does it make for noodles? How does the pasta look? And give them the full package in a very brief period of time. Pack up our bags, go to the next location and do that. And after a few weeks, I've got a few teams traveling around the world, and within about 3 weeks, we try to cover as much of the major buyers in the world as possible.
So we, of course, had rain and snow just prior to taking this year's wheat crop off in Western Canada. What is your quality message?
Well, it's a bit strange, actually, but it's good news for the buyers anyway. This year, yes, we had downgrading because of the rain particularly. We had a lot of mildew, and so that's where you see a little bit of black on the ends of the seed. And typically when we have mildew, it can be quite extreme. And what you'll end up doing is you get a gray flower, you can get some ugly colors, and so stuff will get graded to a number 3, and so people would be shying away from buying a number 3 wheat because of it. This year what we're finding so far is, yes, a lot of our wheat's been downgraded due to mildew, and that material, however, is milling and baking very well. So what we're finding is that we're not getting much of a change in color in the flour. The baked products look really good. The strength is up, the gluten strength is up, so we're getting very nice loaf volumes. The crumb structure is very good. And so if there's any good news in this, is that a number 3 can be used very well by most bakers around the world. And so the flour mills can, and that's where our message is that yes, we don't have much for 1s, not too much for 2s, so lots of 3s, but here's how you can use it. And we show pictures of the bread, we show pictures of the flour, and we can demonstrate to them, yes, you can use a 3 for mildew. Now, if it's downgraded because of frost or other things, then of course they have to be much more careful. But as far as mildew goes, of the mildew we have this year, we're having very good success. That's not true for all customers, however. There's still some customers that just can't go to a 3. For example, the Japanese. Although we've been able to make bread that would fit the Japanese market, that looks really good, they're still really hesitant. They're very much top quality sensitive, and so they're going to be looking for 1s as much as possible. And a part of our job is to show them this, they can use a 3 this year for the degrading factors available this year. Also in the noodles, in noodles, sometimes they're fresh noodles, so they make the noodle and they have to sit for a while before somebody comes and buys them. And they're very sensitive to color. They want bright white noodles and not to get too ugly looking as they sit. With the mildew, it does tend to make them a little bit speckier. The color's not quite as bright and white. So this year, the color for the noodles is not as spectacular. So I don't think we'll see an awful lot of the customers coming for 3s on that side, but on the baking side, it seems to be working very well. We're very pleased Like I say, in the last few years we've had issues with gluten strength, but this year the gluten strength has come back up. And we've actually seen that in the past where we had samples affected by mildew and the strength came up, so strange. But yeah, the good news is customers can use it and it looks really good.
So that it's kind of just the nature of our grading system here in Canada that our number 3 this year is still a good milling.
Yeah, that's the challenge with grading, is we want a premium product, so we put very strict grading standards on, and the committee meets each year to find out, or to determine, what should that level be set. And that's really what gives that consistency to Canadian product. But that also means sometimes that we're a little harsher on it than what other customers, other destinations would be. And in years past, when we had mildew, yes, it would affect quality of the color, but this year we're not seeing it. So it's just a reality of this year's, when the rain came and how long it lasted and such, that the samples we're seeing coming in, the mildew is not having such a great impact. And I'm sure the quality standards will have that discussion this year and say, well, do we need to look at those next year? The best we can do this year is tell customers, look, if it's downgraded because of mildew and it's going into a standard baking milling process, then take heart, it can be used. We've also been working with millers to talk about what can you do from a milling perspective to minimize that mildew impact on the flour as well. And they've been receiving that very well.
The improved gluten strength, do you have any ideas why we've seen it bounce back this week?
A couple of theories, but nothing substantiated. One of the things we know is that our water absorption is down a little bit this year. Last year we had 2% higher water absorption than previous years. And what happens is if the flour can hold more water, it stresses the dough, it stresses the gluten more. And so I think what we're seeing is that at maximum water absorption is the gluten just couldn't hold up to that. This year our water absorption is down. And why mildew would make the water absorption go down, one can only speculate, but it has something to do with that deposition of the protein at the end of the, as it's going into maturity. And for whatever reason, we see decrease in water absorption and increase in strength. And I think it's certainly related to the water absorption, but why the water absorption went down, we don't know. But the water absorption is still very good. It's still excellent from what you find around the world. We're still higher than, say, DNS or any of those. Excellent water absorption, just not as extreme as we had last year.
Maybe we should ask some people behind
Yeah,
you.
they'd be able to tell me more directly. And they're actually testing different samples from the grain companies right now. I think Shona is actually testing a sample of CPS wheat, but one that we've milled at a 60% extraction, a lower extraction for premium noodle markets, just to see how this year's CPS will function. And she's doing something called a phrenograph, and that's one of our measures of gluten strength. And we're seeing numbers on the phrenograph this year that are very encouraging. We've always said we want to have a minimum of 7 minutes stability, which is a measure this machine gives us. And years past we've had 6.5, 6 minutes, but this year she's seeing lots in the 9 minutes, 10 minutes, which is excellent. So her machine's telling us good stuff.
All right.